Hello, book lover. This is Fernanda, your literature teacher and literary mentor at Books and Culture. And this video is a warm up for the exciting free event that's coming up soon, the Classic Reader Week, starting on Monday, the 23rd of September. So I sent out a survey to the followers, students at Books and Culture, asking them or asking you really, what are your biggest wishes and obstacles when it comes to reading the classics of literature so that I could find the best way to help you out in this journey. I also asked you what you would like the most in a literature course. So today I'm going to share with you some of these wishes and obstacles so that we can talk about books and culture and what books and culture can do for you in this journey to encourage you and to give you the confidence and the tools and strategies that you need to read the classics of literature with no fear. And reminder, if you haven't signed up for the Classic Reader Week, please do. You can find the link in the description box and also in my Instagram bio. All right, so let's take a look at some of the biggest wishes and obstacles, right? So, biggest wish, read more books. The most difficult thing is time management and dealing with clear focus. That is something that I think all readers struggle with. But the more confident you become, the more books you will read because it will become like a second nature to you if it isn't already. But a clear focus is something that we need as readers. In the Creative Reader Academy and in the courses at Books and Culture and in the Classic Reader Week, the series of online literature classes that will be live next week, you will learn how to engage critically with the text by manipulating the text, really conversing with the text, engaging really with the physicality of the book, either in its physical copy or a digital copy, annotating, highlighting. That creates let's say a bubble, a reading bubble, and you feel more focused and you feel more part of the interpretation process. So I think I would recommend that engaging critically and actively with the book can help your concentration and focus problems. Okay, let's take a look at another one. When reading a book, I would love to learn about the historical context when the book was written, what inspired the author to write in a specific way they wrote the book. Also, I'd love to understand Old English a bit better and local dialects that come up in books, which require some time to decipher as English is not my native language. Well, English is not my native language either. English is a language I fell in love with, and the books I have fallen in love with were written in English. So English connects me with my beloved authors and beloved books. And our books and culture is an international community. So most of our students are not native speakers of English. We use English to communicate and to read, and this is fascinating that we can do that. So there are, of course, linguistic barriers at times, and that's why you need good editions, good academic editions with footnotes. For instance, if you're reading Old English, that's not my expertise, but let's say you're reading Shakespeare, that's early modern English. There will be things that you will not be familiar with as a modern day reader, right? As a 21st century reader. So if you're not familiar with early modern English, what you can do to make your way towards the text, to access the text better, to bridge the gap, let's say, between you and the context in which the text was written, is to use annotated editions. So footnotes with editors' comments that will help you understand the context and the language variation, and that is something you can do. And at Books and Culture, we only read books in context. So that is part of our reading process that you will learn in the Creative Reader Academy. If you join, you will know what you have to do before, during, and after reading. And a book does not exist in a vacuum. It's part of of its context of production. It's part of its, we have to place the book in its world so that we can better comprehend it. And of course, bring our 21st century perspectives. So it is a combination of three pillars, three forces: the book, the author, and you or me, the reader, right? So it's a combination of these three forces that with which we interpret the literary text. So if you would like to read literature in context, I invite you to join our courses or workshops. And when you do that, when you place the book in its context, the reading becomes so much more meaningful and you retain it so much better, right? It memory retention is much better when you read a book in that way. Intertextuality, being able to recognize texts in other texts, as well as identifying the features that characterize a type of writing. In one of the modules at the Creative Reader Academy, you will learn the types of literary texts, the main characteristics, the main features. So you will be able to categorize categorize the texts you read in relation to type and genre. We are aware, and I make it clear, that literary genres are not fixed boxes in which you can just drop a text here and there, like, oh, this is science fiction, this is I don't know, this is a romantic text, this is a satire, this is an epic poem. The most interesting texts are those that break boundaries, right? So we don't not see literary genres as fixed boxes, but they help us understand certain patterns that have been maintained throughout a period of time, and why. Why, we always ask why. That's the favorite question of any literature teacher. And intertextuality, it is something you have to build. You have to build and enrich your literary repertoire so that you are able to identify these intertextualities. But if you cannot at this stage, what you can do is, again, use very good academic editions, and the editors will have done a very good work and really put a lot of effort into finding these connections. So you can read those footnotes in order to identify them. You don't need to be able to identify them yourself all the time. It's great if you can, right? But there will always be things that are outside of our reach. So that's why it's important to rely on other people's works, right? Okay, so another student or prospective student says the biggest wish is reading more. Obstacle is reading in other languages. So I think we've covered that, right? So to read more, you need to be encouraged. And here I am, your literature teacher and literary mentor, to offer you books that are outside of your comfort zone, that will challenge you as a reader, but that will make you grow and mature as a reader. You will, after that journey, so reading a book that you would most likely not have chosen yourself, that's why you need a mentor or a teacher. You will feel, oh, that was worth it. I feel like it was a meaningful journey. So if you want to read more, you can join our community. So you will always be reading different books. Every year there are 4 literary workshops. So in addition to the academy and to the online courses, there are 4 workshops a year. And in each workshop, we work specifically with one text. We read it in context. I introduce you to the author's background, to the context of publication. For instance, this year, we worked with Sherlock Holmes and detective fiction in April. Now in July, we worked with Edith Wharton and America's New York's Gilded Age. In October, we're going to talk about the doppelganger in Gothic horror fiction, and Stevenson's the Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And in December, we're going to talk about J.R.R. Tolkien's Letters from Father Christmas and Christmas literature. So there's always an opportunity for you to dig deeper with us and to read outside of your comfort zone. Um, my biggest wish as a reader is to enjoy what I am reading and to understand what I'm reading. For me personally, that means understanding the context of a story so that I may better understand the world, time period, characters, and other such aspects of the story. You're absolutely right. And that's what we do at the Academy. My biggest obstacle is staying in touch with my inner critical reader. I miss my time at university and I miss engaging with fellow students. I fear that I am slowly losing my knowledge and skills. Yes, you don't lose them, but they get rusty. So um, I hope I encourage you to come back to the, let's say, academic reading circles. And you don't need to be a university major to study English in a meaningful way, to study English literary works in a meaningful way. That's one of the purposes of books and culture, to bring meaningful, high level literature classes, the same lessons I teach at university, even with more care because of my passion for the subjects that we choose to talk about. That level of education is what I bring to the courses at Books and Culture. And with the workshops, they are live, so you have the chance to interact with other book lovers. And if you cannot make it there live, you can also watch the recording and listen to the conversation. It is always very interesting. I would like to maintain them, but I find it hard to find a focus or starting point. And secondary literature is often inaccessible when you don't have access to an online university library. Sometimes I am curious to know if I can still write an academic essay, but where to start if you don't have a teacher to guide you. Exactly. So we don't write essays at Books and Culture, but if you want to, you're more than welcome. On Friday, in the last class of the Creative Reader, the Classic Reader Week, I will talk about all the opportunities and services available at Books and Culture. One of them, I will already say it then, is individual sessions. So if you have the wish to write an academic essay, I can help you with that, and I can be your for no, you are always the first reader. I can be your second reader and your I don't want to say supervisor, but your guide, and be able to offer you some feedback and insight on your writing. If you would like to practice academic writing, we can do that in one or a few individual sessions. Um, and in relation to, yes, secondary literature. So with every workshop, I also offer the students it's usually one academic article or a chapter in an academic book for us to discuss and as supporting material. So you will get that if you join one of the workshops. And as part of the Creative Reader Academy, well, there are different tiers, but as part of the middle tier, you also have free access to all workshops every year. So if you really want to be part of the whole thing, the whole gang, um, that's something for you. So watch the class on Friday so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Bigger obstacle, go out of my comfort zone. I'm here to get you out of your comfort zone and to encourage you to read books that you would not normally choose, but that could pretty much change your life, your reading life. Bigger wish to read some classic literature, dig deeper into Greek mythology. Greek mythology, that's very interesting. We haven't done that at Books and Culture yet, but that's definitely something to think about. Biggest wish, maximizing reading time and read way more books, especially challenging ones. Biggest obstacle, lack of time. Lack of time is always a thing, right? So, what I encourage students to do is to choose a time slot in your day, if you want to do it daily, or every other day, or every week, if that is the case, for reading time and really meaningful reading that you sit, you annotate, you get into the reading bubble that I mentioned earlier, right? Um, and you treat that as a priority, as really an appointment with yourself. You can add it to your own agenda, right? It can be perhaps waking up 30 minutes earlier on one specific day, so then you can sit on the couch with a cup of coffee and read. or a specific evening that you decide on Wednesday evenings, I stay at home and I read. So choose a moment for yourself. It's also a bit of a me time, taking care of yourself if you're a book lover, right? Try to incorporate that into your um, weekly plan. I would love to do crash courses of literature. Well, we have several at Books and Culture already. There is one on Jane Austen. There is one on understanding Frankenstein. There is one on reading short stories. There is one on Charles Dickens and Christmas. There is one coming soon on the Bronte sisters. So there's a lot there for you. You just go to booksandculture.club to see what is available. To be analytical, notice the author's style within the text and be able to reflect about the text more. Yes, that's what we do at Books and Culture. My wish is to remember some details about my reading, and my biggest obstacle is my ADHD. I really believe that engaging with the text, as I mentioned earlier, really actively engaging with the text helps with memory retention and with focus. So that is something you could also try out. I would like to be able to read a book in depth, grasp every meaning, emotion, and stylistic construction in such a way as to truly understand whether I appreciated that book or not and why. I would like to go beyond the perception. Yes, and that's very hard to do on your own, right? So, of course, the goal at Books and Culture is to give you the tools and the knowledge that you need to become an autonomous reader, confident reader, and even literary researcher if you want to. So by taking the course, participating in the workshops, reading extra material, you will gain that backbone knowledge and set of skills that you need to continue the journey on your own. Read more and find more relevant books. Yes. You will find one of the students at Books and Culture said that the course, the Creative Reader Academy, is wonderful, but it will make you, well, I don't remember the words exactly, but your to be read, your TBR pile of books will increase enormously. And it does, because when I talk about stylistic features of genres of texts or types of texts, I always refer to examples from literary texts, so you can add those to your list. To learn something new, especially about other cultures, in a playful way through fiction. I don't like it when books go really slow, as in uninterestingly slow, or when they use untrue knowledge of facts. I really believe that reading is a way of learning about other people's cultures, about the past. It's a window to the past. We are now reading Agnes Grey in the series of guided reading on YouTube. And it is a window to the past. We see how it must have been like for a young girl, a young woman, to work as a governess in Victorian England. And how fascinating is that, right? As a reader, who was it? Was that George Martin who said it? One of his characters said it, that as a reader, you live 1,000 lives. You cannot live 1,000 lives physically, but as a reader, you can. You can experience what it is, or what it must have felt like, or what it could have been like to live in another place, in another culture, speak another language, in another time, in imagined worlds, right? That's the power of literature. Get more from what I read, fear of not understanding. Yes, so that's why a guide is important. Biggest wish, while reading, I can relate to the protagonist. Biggest obstacle, I only read classics. I can't find inspiration in modern books. I think I'm a bit the same. But there are also classic books from our own contemporary time. So maybe that's something that you could try. To engage with my reading, I fall into the trap of feeling I need to monetize such engaging with reading. Yes, so engaging with the books is one of the pillars of my methodology that I will discuss during the Classic Reader Week. The E of read is to engage with the text, and I will tell you how you can do that, what you can do to incorporate, what you can incorporate into your reading life right now to engage more deeply with the books that you read. Um, all right. So here I also asked you the subjects you would be interested in, and most of you chose history of literature, elements of fiction, annotation techniques, and types of literary texts and contexts. And all of this is information you can find in the Creative Reader Academy. This is supposed to be a short video, so I will stop right here. But I hope I have managed to give you some answers to your questions, to comment on some of your wishes and obstacles, and to say that I am here to be your literature teacher, your literary guide, to challenge you to read outside of your comfort zone, to give you to provide you with the necessary information needed to read literature meaningfully in context, and to develop your skills as a confident, creative, critical, active reader, expanding your repertoire, and letting go of the fear of hesitation of reading the classics of literature. So I end this video by reminding you to sign up for the Classic Reader Week starting on Monday, September 23rd. And if you have any questions, or if you're watching this video at another time in the future, past the event, you can always find more information about what we have available for you on the website booksandculture.club. I wish you a wonderful day and very meaningful literary adventures. Bye.